From Hastings, State Highway 50 leads out through the farmlands of Hawke's Bay, where smaller centres, each with memories of the past, reflect today how people lived and worked and built their communities. Townships built upon the sweat and toil of early settlers, who created farms and rural lifestyles, or recorded through the camera's eye a glimpse of how things were. Here and there an icon of the past still exists, like this, the historic woolshed at Marae-Kākaho. The woolshed's connection to the past goes way back to 1840, when Donald Maclean arrived in New Zealand from Australia. Born in Scotland, Donald Maclean spoke both Gaelic and English, and such was his linguistic abilities that he soon became fluent in Maori. Furthermore, he gained a healthy respect for Maori customs and opinions, knowledge that helped him in his many roles during his 57 years of life. Maclean reckoned that the way to wealth was through land acquisition, and by 1877 he had acquired legal title to Marae-Kākaho Station. More land was bought, and when he died in 1877, his son Douglas Maclean took over. It was Douglas who really moved things along, and it's recorded that at one stage Marae-Kākaho Station, a vast empire of some 59,000 acres of land, carried 64,000 sheep, with a woolshed able to house 3,500 sheep at one time. By 1881, it was decided a new woolshed was needed, and it needed to be ready for the 1883 shearing season. Its design, though, was different from most other woolsheds. So while most were oblong sheds, this was like the letter T, with the crossbar of the T facing outwards, offering a 14-stand shearing board along each arm of the T. Thus arose the third Marae-Kākaho woolshed, with each shearer having an exit door for shorn sheep, leading to a pen, and this allowed the quality of each shearer's work to be assessed. Today the remaining part of the shed is a valued icon, part of the huge Marae-Kākaho Station, whose workforce numbered between 60 to 70 workers. It even had its own post office. Around 1890, government interference, or so it was considered to be by some, saw these large farms split up, and Marae-Kākaho Station was one. Many of today's farms, homesteads, properties were once part of the Marae-Kākaho Station. But the woolshed remains. Altered, yes, but not significantly so, thus remaining a vivid connection to the history of the area. The village of Marae-Kākaho lies some 23 kilometres west of Hastings, and what in 1884 took an hour and a quarter by horse and buggy, today takes no time at all, given the good roads and modern horseless carriages. And for those who do travel down this road, they can't help but notice that historic woolshed. As the road enters Marae-Kākaho, it passes a memorial to those locals who went to war to help preserve the peace. Today the village has a fine school, a church, and down the road the Chook and Philly Cafe. The local hall is also much used, and a real benefit for all manner of occasions. And there used to be a store. Today it's a private home. But this is not a village that is dying. Changing, yes, with new blocks of land offered to those who wish to live beyond the city limits, or join those homes nestled in amongst the hills. And then there is the woolshed. Not some empty relic overtaken by weeds, not at all. In fact, it's cared about, almost revered. And on this occasion, for just a few woolly creatures wanting to look good before spring arrives, it's still in use. The Marae-Kākehau woolshed is certainly big. In fact, the space upstairs is truly mind-boggling and was at one time used by a rifle club for recreational shooting. On another occasion, the woolshed was used as a polling place, and in more recent times to screen films presented as Real Life in Rural New Zealand, a film archive initiative giving insight into the lives of those who lived and worked in New Zealand's farmlands. What fascinates people most is that round thing at the top. Most think it's something to do with ventilation, but it's not that at all. It was part of the mechanism required to lift bales of wool from the ground floor up to the storage area above. To lift a bale of wool, it was placed on the floor just outside the entrance door. In fact, that's the floor of an elevator. It's raised by a cable wound around this rotating drum up above, with the cable running vertically down to a pulley fixed below, and pulled by horses or a traction engine, this caused the platform to rise. You can still see the linkage points. And here, one of the counterweights whose job it was to cancel out the weight of the platform and its frame. So, up it went. Like things that last, this building's weathered timbers join with relics of the past, delivering an aura of age, evoking feelings as we reflect on just how much this place meant to those who worked here all those years ago. In a way, it is its own memorial. One wonders just how long old buildings can remain. Repairs, it seems, are needed more and more. And just beyond the shadow of the shed lie buildings now starting to decay. They played their part for many years and did the jobs they had to do, but now are markers of times gone, sentinels of treasured memories, and as such allow us to plot the family tree of this historic woolshed. Although this film might whet one's appetite to learn some more, this book, researched and written by historian Alan Scarfe, gives substance to the subject, as it details lifestyles, hopes and disappointments, dreams, achievements and successes of those who had a part to play in Maraikakaho Station, a book which in part salutes Maraikakaho's very own historic woolshed.